All right, so today we're just going to be talking about the first objective of Section 4 of Chapter 3 on slope and rate of change. And the objective is to find the slope of a line given 2 points on that line. So, first off, maybe uh, you haven't heard what slope is, so we'll talk about that is. The slope is just describing the steepness of a line or its slant. So, it is really the measure of the vertical change to the horizontal change. So I have strung together an equation here of all of the ways that slope can be represented, and they all mean the same thing. So slope in math a lot of time is represented with the letter M, and I don't know why. I don't know why not just S, but that's okay. So slope is going to be the letter M most of the time. So it is the change in y, which is, by the way, the vertical change, over the change in x, which is the horizontal change. A lot of people say it's the rise over the run. And this is the formula if you have two coordinates. You do a y coordinate minus a different y coordinate over the x coordinate minus the other x coordinate. So looking at a graph, you can go about it a couple of ways. You can count how much do you go up or down, and then how much do you go left or right. Um, they say, so how much does it rise? How much does it run? Or what's the vertical change or what's the horizontal change? Or you can do the formula part. So if you write down the coordinates, you do y, the second one minus the first one over the second x minus the second x, or first x. So now here is what's interesting is no matter, so on a line, there's an infinite number of points that you can pick. So it doesn't matter which points you pick. All of them will come out to be the same. So here's an example of a line. You notice that there are 3 points. In between the first and second point, you go up 4 and right 3. So that's a slope of 4/3. Between the second and the third point, you also go up 4 and right 3. So that's a slope of 4/3. Or maybe you even picked this point and that point. You would have gone up 8 and over 6. 8 over 6 also reduces to 8/3. So no matter what points you pick, all of those fractions would reduce to 4/3. And then, of course, you can also do the formula part that I talked about up here, this formula. If you look at it as coordinates, it would be 6 minus 2, which is 4, and 4 minus 1, which is 3. So all of them come out to be 4/3 no matter what. Now, slope can sometimes be positive or negative. And when you look at a line, you can just tell if it's positive or negative. So we look at a line from left to right. If it's going down from left to right, your slope is going to end up being negative. So this is kind of a quick way to check to see if your slope came out to be correct. If it's going down from left to right, it should have been negative. If it's going up from left to right, it's going to be a positive slope. Okay? So on the back, we just have a few examples of finding the slope. So we're not given graphs on this, so we can't count. And I think it's a lot more work to plot these points and then count the rise over the run. I think whenever given coordinates like this, it's just easiest to do the slope formula. So I like to write down the formula every time I use it because it helps me memorize it that much faster. So it is y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So you might be asking, I don't know what x1 and y1 and x2 and y2 are. So where do those come from? The coordinates. Remember, coordinates are x, y. So since we have a first and a second coordinate, we'll call this one x1 and y1, and this one x2 and y2. Now, it doesn't matter if you said that this one was x1 and y1, and this coordinate over here was x2 and y2. It just matters that the 2's are together and the 1's are together. So now that we have them labeled, all we have to do is plug it into our formula. So what number have we labeled y2? There it is. It's negative 3 minus y1. What do we label y1 as? Right there, 5. Over x2. Right there is 2 minus x1. Now here's the trickiest part. Minus a negative 1. That makes plus. So there, if you can figure that part out, that's the hardest part. Minus negative 1 is plus 1. And then it's very simple. You just have a little bit of math to do. On top, negative 3 minus 5 is negative 8. On bottom, 2 plus 1 is 3. That fraction does not reduce, so that is our slope. So these next examples are the exact same. We'll just keep doing it over and over. Again, write down that formula every time and it'll help you memorize it. So again, slope formula, y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. And then label your coordinates. This is x1 and y1. These will be x2 and y2. And we'll plug it in. y2 is first. It's labeled as 5. Minus y1 is 11. Over x2 is 2. Minus x1 is negative 4. So again, here's a little bit of thought. Minus negative 4 is plus 4. So we do the math. 5 minus 11 is negative 6. 2 plus 4 is 6. That fraction does reduce. Negative 6 divided by 6 is negative 1. Do not put negative 1 over 1. If something is over 1, you just put what the numerator is. So that slope reduces to just negative 1. Let's do number 3. Same thing. Start by writing the formula down to help you memorize it quicker. y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Label your coordinates next. x1, y1, x2, y2. And then all I got to do is plug them right into the formula. y2 is negative 2, minus y1 is negative 5, so minus negative 5 is plus 5. On bottom, x2 is 0, minus x1 is negative 2. So again, minus negative 2 is plus 2. Just a little bit of math to do on this one. Negative 2 plus 5 is 3. 0 plus 2 is 2. That one does not reduce. So that is my slope of 3/2. By the way, this line, since it's positive, if you were to graph it, the line would be going up from left to right. The other two, the slopes turned out to be negative, so those lines would be going down from left to right. So we can get a kind of a little picture of what it would look like if we were to graph those points. Let's do another. Start by writing the formula. y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. And then label your coordinates. x1, y1, x2, y2. Then all I got to do is plug it in. y2 is first. It's been labeled as 4 minus y1, which is negative 2. So minus negative 2 is plus 2. On bottom, x2 is 2. Minus x1 is negative 1. Minus negative 1 is plus 1. 4 plus 2, 6. 2 plus 1, 3. 6 divided by 3, that one, slope is positive 2. A slope of 2 on that. So again, do not put 2 over 1. Put 2. Just 2 more examples, and then you can get started on your assignment. Start by writing your slope formula down. y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. y2, let's label them. x1, y1, x2, y2. Then all I got to do is plug them in. y2 is negative 8. Minus y1 is negative 1. So minus negative 1 makes plus 1. On bottom, x2 is negative 1. Minus x1 minus negative 3 is plus 3. Do the math. Negative 8 plus 1 is negative 7. On bottom, negative 1 plus 3 is 2. Does that fraction reduce? No, it does not. Negative 7 over 2 is my slope. It would be going down if we were to graph it from left to right. Now 6 is a table. Like, oh my gosh, what am I supposed to do? I have 1, 2, 3 options. Well, remember what I told you on the front. You can pick any 2 points that you want, and they will all come out to be the same slope. So just pick the ones you want. I'm going to pick this one and that one. Why don't one of you pick the first and third or second and third and do the slope formula and see if it comes out to be the same answer as me? So I'm going to pick those. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to write those coordinates down so I can label them more efficiently. 0, 2, and negative 1, 7. Somebody else picks two different ones, or, use that bottom one with one of the others and see if yours comes out to be the same. All right, so I've picked my two coordinates. I'm going to label them x1, y1, x2, and y2. Then I'm writing down the formula, y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1, and I'm going to plug them in. y2 is 7 minus y1 is 2 over x2 is negative 1 minus 0. That's 5 over negative 1. That's awkward. 5 over negative 1 is really negative 5. Whoever did the other coordinates, did you get negative 5 as well? Then you did it correct. Good job. So pretty simple stuff today. Just write down that formula, get it memorized very quickly, and these problems go pretty fast. So good luck. You'll do fine.